Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Reese part number 195C is what this is. The 195C is a pair, two each, of what would be called split astragals, or a split astragal. A split astragal is, let's back up. You've got split and then astragal. So astragal is the term that's used to do some sort of a job in a pair of doors. And an astragal can come in different shapes, different styles, different functions. It can incorporate the ability to handle compatibility with hardware. So in no particular order, just off the top of my head, an astragal can be used to just seal the gap between two doors. You'll have a pair of doors, and let's say that you have a 5-foot wide opening, and you've got a pair of 2'6" doors. Well, there's naturally going to be a gap between the edge of the door and the strike jamb, or the hinge jamb, the edge of the door and the hinge jamb, and then between the two doors there will be a natural gap. That gap is required so that doors that are rectangular in shape can actually operate, so that they'll actually open. So filling the gap. But on top of filling the gap between two doors, they'll generally provide either security. Maybe you have a pair of hollow metal doors and you've got a right-hand reverse active. You can have a Z-astragal attached to the inactive door, but then you'll have an offset flat bar astragal attached to the pull side of the active door. Seals the gap between the two doors, but also provides security. It closes the gap. So sealing the gap or closing up the gap, think of it two different ways. I just want to close the gap, and I don't need a 1/4 inch gap between the two doors. Or sealing the gap, like I don't want wind to race through a 1/4 inch gap between the two doors. You might want to cover that gap for security purposes. I don't want someone to be able to try to Lloyd the lock by sticking something in there. And depending on the door type, the type of astragal will change. We have astragals that are flat bar, that are offset flat bar, that are shaped like the letter Z, shaped like the letter H, shaped like the letter U, and they're used independently or in conjunction with each other to serve at least one purpose, and generally two: closing and sealing, closing and securing, things of that nature. When you've got an astragal on each door, you would call it a split astragal. Split. We've split the astragal. There's now two of them. And this would be considered a split astragal. When it comes to gasketing, split astragals can very commonly be just surface-mounted bristle weather stripping. You'll put a bristle on each door so that when the door closes, those bristles entangle with each other and creating a seal, a weather seal between the two doors. They close that off visually. They don't really prevent someone from necessarily being able to Lloyd the hardware, being able to tamper with the hardware. It's just gasketing. But a split astragal can be nylon bristle, it could be felt, it could also be magnetic, and that's where the 195 comes in. The way I like to explain to people why you want magnetic weather stripping is, think of an application where it's really important to have the door sealed. It's super important. It's incredibly important. It's your refrigerator. That's magnetic weather stripping that's on there. And that's why it's used, because you'll have a very positive seal when you have magnet and steel, or two magnets making contact with each other. And that's what this does. So the 195 is the split astragal. There's two of them here. I just have them connected. The C means that it's in clear anodized aluminum finish. Certainly Reese makes a D for dark bronze. They might make gold. We'll check that other finishes when we switch to the screen view. This material floats inside of there a little bit. Okay. The point of that is when you install this split astragal on the face of each door, you're going to install them. There is a dimension. It's 7/16 of an inch, I believe. Actually, that is indicated here. You know what? I'll show you this image when we switch to the screen view. The instructions on here say, attach housing 7/16 apart as shown. Again, I'll show you that image so that we can focus on it. So when you install the housings, and that would be the outer portion, not the internal portion, these housings here and here, when you separate those by 7/16 of an inch, when those doors come to close to each other, yeah, you're gonna make a nice positive seal between the doors. Okay. Obviously, it's going to be an incredibly long-lasting installation, and we don't sell them often, and it's because I think the cost, and people don't think of magnetic weather stripping, even though it's out there. It's out there for more than just split Astragal applications. They have curved-in style magnetic weather stripping on a wood frame with a metal or steel metal-clad door. Very effective way to seal that residential door off. But they are incredibly dependable and durable and very long-lasting. There's nothing really to wear out. I know that magnets do, because of their sharing their electrons between each other, a magnet does lower in its ability to maintain an original holding force over time. I don't know, centuries. So you can expect this to be very durable and very long-lasting. If sealing between two doors is utterly paramount, and do so in a reasonably architecturally pleasing way, this could be a great way to go about doing that. Let's switch to the screen view and let's look at some supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here's the item that we are looking at. Let's take a closer look at it. You can see what it looks like in cross-section. These housings would be 7/16 apart. When you buy one, you're buying a pair. We happen to be looking at a 24-inch set. Very unusual to sell a 24-inch set, but you could have some windows, I suppose. Obviously, 80-inch, 84-inch, 96-inch would be more common sizes. Does include, they say 6 by 5/8 panhead screws, but these extrusions are countersunk. So I will ask the factory if they send flathead or panhead screws for this material. I'm surprised to see that these have countersunk preparations in the flanges. I would think, well, maybe they send oval head screws would be more typical or more likely, if we're kind of inferring what we show here. All aluminum weather strip comes standard with slotted holes. That's not accurate. These are not slotted holes. We'll get rid of that information as well. To receive UL parts, add prefix F when ordering at the comments. So up here, if these are for fire-rated doors, put, language that says this is for a pair of fire-rated doors. Please label the product accordingly. Now there is a link to the cut sheet as seen here, where we can pull up the 195C. It's more of a product catalog, I suppose, but here it is. Sold in sets only. Door closed. Door open. Plungers retracted with little friction or wear. Probably a pretty low force as well required to close those doors would be my guess. Okay, now, actually, before we go, there are the finishes. Clear anodized aluminum, dark bronze, and then gold finish. That's all currently available. There's a link below this video as seen here to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Reese products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog here. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Before we switch back to the screen view, let's take a look at some photographs that we have posted here, showing it close up from an elevation perspective, a cross section when the adjustable bars are relaxed, and then when they're pulled apart. I've pinched those, I've pushed the housings apart from each other. Small reveal here, small reveal here, much larger reveal. You know, let's see what the maximum dimension is. Let me give you an idea of what the dimension is between the housings when they're fully closed. I'd say about 5/32 of an inch between them. So that perspective there is about 5/32. When I stretch them apart, and that's right between here and here. When I stretch them apart, just bear with me a moment. Yeah, it's going to be, that's half of an inch is what it is. Half of an inch. So another, 0.3, another 0.35 inch is what it separates out to. So that'll give you an idea of what, I suppose of how far the total travel could be between the two pieces. The backside, not much to really see there. Then the instructions that are on the end of the unit. Don't trim this end. I've got that on there because the internal construction is dependent on the assembly of the internal components that allows it to telescope like that. So trim the opposite end of this. Attach with housing 7/16 apart, as shown. There we go. Seven-sixteenths apart as shown between the housings. Okay, let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've made it this far into this video, you must be determined to see it through to the end, and we appreciate your hanging in there with us and watching this entire video. It means a lot. It takes a lot of work to create these videos in the sense that, it's time taken away from doing other things. However, the advantage for me personally of creating these videos is the fact that it does allow myself to either learn about something new, to reacquaint myself with something, or to reinforce what I believe that I already know. Any comments that you might leave down below would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Now, in conclusion, there are some notable comments to make about Reese, and I'll do so now. They, of course, in their catalog have an offering of the standard material that you're going to expect to see. The thresholds, the gasketing, the weather stripping, things of that nature. So you'll always find the common material from them, most definitely. What's notable about the common material is the aluminum seems to be heavier. This isn't an example of that, but when you pick up one of their saddle thresholds, it feels heavier, and it's because I believe their extrusions are thicker than the people that they primarily compete against. So I like to use Reese because I consider it a heavier duty option. So that's a notable item. That's not obvious. But when you look in their catalog, some remarkable items would be the fact that they have a fairly decent offering of STC, or sound transmission control products. They have a pretty deep offering of polyurethane as an insert. You've got vinyl and bristle and pile and santoprene and neoprene and silicone and thermoplastics, other particular items that may apply to just a particular manufacturer, but really only Reese has polyurethane. Polyurethane is notable because it's extremely abrasion resistant. Think of a door sweep dragging across a concrete floor 100,000 times. Very abrasion resistant, impervious to ultraviolet. That means daylight. So vinyl will just fatigue and fail with exposure to ultraviolet. Polyurethane won't. It's utterly resistant to mildew and bacteria buildup. So if we do a food processing plant or a client contacts us from a facility that's wet, that's going to get wet, we are always saying polyurethane is the first stop on the tour bus of figuring out what exactly it is that you need. They also have some thresholds that I like a lot, in the sense that they have a bump up style threshold that you can add a L-shaped interlocking hook to. So you're going to get in an outside door, you'll get the interlock hook on the outside. You're then going to get a bump up that the door closes up against. So that's a really nice option. I've even gone so far as to add a hollow metal style automatic door bottom to the bottom of that door, where we have a seal exterior face, interior face, and underneath. It's a belt and suspenders approach, most certainly, but I find a belt and suspenders approach is pretty necessary in some weather stripping applications. I've got clients who just find it very hard to keep the water out, and they're doing so with inadequate design and inadequate quantity of weather stripping. And there are times you've got to throw as much at it as you can, because gasketing is not making it waterproof, anything proof, weatherproof. Resistant would be more the word. It's weather stripping. Okay, it's not a welded seam between two plates of steel like you'd have in a submarine. So it's not going to keep the water out quite like that. Another remarkable item about Reese is their dark bronze finish is very true. Their dark bronze finish is the truest to a true oil rubbed bronze, in that it's lighter. It looks more akin to an oil rub bronze finish. It's not a very dark powder coated finish or just a dark anodized finish. It has some character to it, some warmth to it. It's lighter. If you're doing a 613 finish, think of Reese. It'll be the best match, in my opinion. And then finally, their customer service, their tech support, they're just good people, and they get product out the door pretty quickly. In fact, on average, quicker than anyone else in the weather stripping business is how Reese gets product out the door. They do have a minimum order, do plan ahead, but when it comes to high quality product that can ship pretty quickly, Reese is going to be a catalog that you'll want to familiarize yourself with. Any questions on the 195C split Astragal magnetic set or any other Reese product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.